Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I am pleased to have with me today Rita Ohaya. Thank you, Rita, for joining me. How are you today?
I am well. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. Hopefully, I can impart valuable resources to your audience. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I think you have some specialized knowledge that a lot of small businesses aren't even aware of. So I'm excited to have you share. Well, why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself quickly and let the audience know who you are and kind of what you're about. And I'm going to share this live feed a few places.
Okay, perfect. My name is Rita Ohaya, as you mentioned, Krista, and I am a senior level professional with a diversified background in program management within the social equity realm. So I'm well versed in small business enterprise, business enterprise, excuse me, veteran business enterprise environments, and well versed in those types of programs. So as a result, over the years, I've acquired strategic and analytical skills with proven success in developing and implementing advocacy and diversity program initiatives. So currently, I'm working on my doctoral degree, my dissertation in the area of public administration with California Baptist University. And I work with a professional services firm called and we're handling a lot of the planning and the program integration for the California High Speed Rail Authority.
Oh,
The
wow.
very famous High Speed Rail project, the first in the United States and in California.
Yeah.
Previously, I worked with the San Diego County Regional Airport Authority, handling a lot of their infrastructure and aviation delivery type projects in the small business realm, of course. And then before that, I was with LA Metro, handling a lot of their infrastructure, transit, highway projects, and monitoring them for compliance. So to sum all that up, my niche is small business programs, small business initiatives, and implementing them for transit agencies, aviation agencies, and now in the private sector with WSP. So it's important to know, though, I'm not representing any one of those agencies in our conversation today. I just want to impart knowledge that I feel there's a gap within the small business community.
Right. And that's why I thought it would be so interesting to have you on because you did have that experience previously working on the public side of things and now
Yes.
you're in the private sector. So you understand it from both perspectives. And I think that's a really unique thing to offer. Now we got to take a quick step back though, because I did see that in when we first connected and I saw on your profile and in your signature that you are currently working on your dissertation right now.
Yes, yes, I'm
And
currently working on.
which part
Go
of it
ahead.
are you on?
Well, we're going to be finishing up our curriculum in the next 5 weeks. So we're at the phase where we're giving a proposal about what our dissertation is going to be on. Interesting enough, I got off the conversation with my dean this morning because I was freaking out because I'm like, I have so many different components to help me narrow it down because that's when you go down the tunnel of literature review, you come up with so many variables that you want to look at. And we
Yeah.
know that's like cause for failure. So I got off the phone with her, finally kind of narrowed my topic, and I'm excited about that. So the goal is to be done by August 2021. I'm looking forward to it. I want my life back, but it's an exciting journey.
Well, and so your dissertation, you said it's in the area of public administration, but what's your specific topic?
My topic, as it relates to small business program, I'm trying to explore, examine the implications that public-private partnership, the model of procurement has on governing small business or social equity programs,
Okay.
such as one that I'm going to talk about, the disadvantaged business enterprise. So we know the P3 model is kind of novel to our industry, but it's gaining a lot of momentum, a lot of attention, especially in the transportation sector. So I'm interested in exploring how this new model that oftentimes blurs the line between the private and the public sector intentionally,
Right.
but that kind of impacts what the contractual terms look like. And
Okay.
to be able to govern a small business program, such as the ones we monitor, the contractual terms need to be clear. So
Right.
just kind of examining that, coming up with best strategies of how to make sure that diversity and inclusion is an important element of the P3 project.
Very cool. I'm very curious about this situation because I personally am in the midst of my dissertation as well.
Really?
Yes, I'm actually starting my field study next week with interviewing businesses locally.
Lord.
So I'm expected to be in August of this August. So I defended my proposal in about 3 weeks ago successfully, and now I'm doing the field study and yeah.
Oh. So you're expected to be done this August, like within the next couple of months? Oh,
yeah,
great.
end of August. I'm doing it through Liberty University online, and I have a very strict. They have like a really structured schedule, and so I will be defending it. So like they basically have you finish it, and then you'll defend and publish in the fall. So we'll see. It's kind of they've readjusted the scheduling, so I'm not exactly sure. I've talked to my advisor. All I know is I have my first draft of my presentation of my findings due July 5th. So, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm excited for you. And I'm praying that you are able to contain that aggressive schedule. I applaud you for still doing this, even with all that you have on your plate.
Oh, it's crazy. But, so you were talking about a literature review. I mean, I cried and cried through the literature review. That is a beast. My literature
really is
about 55 pages. So yeah.
But that's good that you found that much research. That's the area I'm struggling finding enough research.
So I'm doing mine in the area of social media, using social media for customer service purposes for small businesses. So that was part of what took me so long. Why I cried is because there's not much out there. There's just academic literature on what I'm studying is very minimal, which is why everybody in my school is excited that I'm doing this. But doing the literature review was really grueling. I can imagine. I had to really dig deep into like kind of weird things that sort of semi-related to what I was doing just to try and find.
Right. But ultimately, your findings will have a magnitude of impact in the community. So that's great.
That's what I'm hoping. It sounds like you as well. So we're both working on things that are going to help small businesses too, which I love.
Yes, that's my goal.
Hopefully. So getting back on track to the small business then, can you kind of just explain, I think a lot of my viewers might not really be kind of aware of what these public contract opportunities for small business, what does that even mean? Like, can you kind of define just a general topic?
Well, let me lay a foundation because over the years I've had the opportunity of actually being in the community. So beyond monitoring compliance, behind the scenes and making sure that contractors are meeting their terms, I go out in the community to outreach to small businesses. And what I consistently find is they don't know that there are opportunities in our realm. So what really happens, and a lot of agencies are doing a good job gaining some momentum and making sure they're pushing awareness. There's a lot of public agencies that have come up with interesting and very aggressive initiatives to attract small businesses. But what we're missing is the small businesses actually coming and learning about it. But as a condition of receiving funds, federal funds, state funds, local funds, any public funds, a lot of public agencies have to ensure that they have participation from small minority women-owned businesses. Okay. Now, this is with all public agencies across the board. I can really only speak to my experience in the transportation sector, but just based off of the research that I've done and through my peers, there's other public agencies that do engage in these types of programs. But going back to the transportation sector, as a condition of receiving federal funds directly from one of the modes of transportation, such as Federal Highway Administration, Federal Aviation, Federal Transit, Federal Railway, that can go on, we have to implement these initiatives. They came out as a result of, in the public area, once upon a time, there was some discrimination in outsourcing. So as a way of combating that, receiving federal funds is now contingent upon that program. Right. So to drive it home for small businesses, these public agencies need you because they have to meet the goals that they've set of the amount of money and the amount of grants that they're receiving. A percentage of it has to go to small businesses. Okay. So in order to fulfill that goal, they need small businesses. Right. Unfortunately, not a lot of small businesses know that public use contractors. But we
Right.
know public can't achieve everything they want to achieve unless there is some private involvement.
Right.
So they put out bids, they put out solicitation, they have awareness events, they have certification seminars and webinars. And I'm hoping that with a lot more of us going on platforms such as yours, we can spread the wealth. Like, come, learn about your Caltrans, learn about your LA Metro, learn about your San Diego Airport Authority, learn about your high-speed rail,
Mm-hmm.
the California Authority, because ultimately there's a lot of money that's been set aside for small businesses to do business within those agencies.
Right. And I've kind of been, even though I'm not super familiar with the area, I've been aware of this, but I don't, it's not something I often point the small businesses that I work with to look into. What I am aware of kind of from my side and my experience in working with some larger private companies is even though private companies do this, some of
Yeah,
the biggest private companies, the reason they're able to do what they do is because they contract out a lot of smaller things to small businesses.
exactly.
And
Yeah, and
special parts
perfect
or
point.
special services.
Yeah, perfect point. Because my role with WSP right now as a small business officer is ensuring that WSP is in compliance with the program and we're doing everything that we can to utilize small businesses, right? To increase their small business, veteran business
Right.
participation. So people like me are going out in the community and I'm searching. And a lot of the question I get is, well, what possibly would you need me for? I provide supplies. I need supplies.
Right.
What kind of supplies do you provide?
Right.
I need cups, anything you can think of. I think sometimes a lot of small businesses think that their scope is so specialized, but it's really not. Because I feel like as a small business and having worked with entrepreneurs, if you can prove that there's a need for your service, oftentimes if there's a will and there's the resources,
Yeah.
we can use it.
Right.
Just build your case adequately and show why we need you, and we'll do everything we can to explore options of bringing you on board.
Right. And I love that you
Yeah.
specifically mentioned kind of the three categories: minority owned, women owned, and veteran owned. And pretty much in my audience of both people out here, social media people that workshops I've taught from my own clients, pretty much all of them fall into at least one of those categories. I feel like very
Good.
few don't fall into one of those categories. So that's hopefully some of those business owners hear this or see this, because
I hope so too.
there's a lot of opportunities. So how can a business owner kind of get started with finding out about these opportunities then?
Well, they're going to have to do their homework because unfortunately, there is no one-stop shop, right? So they're going to have to identify the public agencies in their area, and there's public agencies everywhere. And even if you're interested in working on the federal level, right, you're going to have to do some research. But the key terms to use when you're searching is small business programs, right?
Okay.
Federal small business programs, state small business programs. You could put in small business enterprise, diversity, business enterprise, disadvantaged business enterprise. Those are the key terms that you can search. And what I found that works with small businesses, once they do that homework, they identify the top 5 agencies they want to work with, right? Based on what type of work they do, what area they're in. You can, 9 out of 10 times, you can find out who the small business officer is. Mm-hmm. And get in contact with the small business officer. That's essentially your gateway into that agency or into that firm. So big firms like WSP, your AECOM, your Swinnerton, your Clark, any big firm you can think of that does business in the public area, oftentimes we do have a small business officer that will walk you through the steps you need to take for that agency or for that organization to make sure you have the resources and to make sure that you have the know-how to be able to compete for those projects.
Right. So really the biggest hurdle is kind of starting with that Google search, finding those agencies, and then finding the right contact person. But once they find somebody like you, then that person's going to be able to tell them what to do, right?
Yeah. Or even now we have LinkedIn. Go on LinkedIn, find someone from an agency, or type in small business officers, small business advocates, And you're going to get a lot. And I did this morning just to make sure
Yeah.
the advice I'm providing works. It's going to give you a list of options within your Connect, and just connect with the person and ask a simple question. This is what I'm looking for. Can you please direct me?
Right.
And a lot of the times we want to direct you because it benefits us. It helps us with accomplishing our mission and our goals. So we're out there. You just gotta come find us.
Right. And like with the public agencies, like you said, they have that money that they can't spend it unless it goes to small businesses. So they
a percentage of it has to go to small businesses. Yeah. So there really is an incentive to utilize small businesses. Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So what types, can you talk about some stories of small businesses you worked with and how getting one of these contract opportunities with a larger firm or a public entity has helped them, or the impact it's had on their business?
Well, there's a lot of them. I think in my limited time, within 10 years of being in this field, I've monitored more than 300 contracts or something like that. And oftentimes there are a few tearjerkers that has been in my profession. But I did work with it's a security company, and we worked diligently with him to get his business registered, to get him certified, and to able to get him to a place where he can compete for security contracts. And a lot of people might think there isn't a lot, but there is. Especially when we're doing construction on the field, we need security, we need some policing in that area, and oftentimes that's contracted out. So we did that, and today I think he has a total of 6 contracts within the public arena, right? All of which gaining over $100,000.
Wow.
So we understand that it is challenging as a small business, right? You've already taken the hard part, which is saying I'm going to go out on my own and I'm going to start a business. That in itself is scary for anyone, and we want to make sure that we're providing you the resources to be successful and to be sustainable. So, in along the lines of that story, I've helped a lot of small businesses kind of cultivate their way, right? And I've also helped them re-strategize. Because I have had a few examples show up in the office and say, I want to do this and this is great. I'm like, okay, well, let's scale back a little. Let's understand what it is exactly you want to do, and maybe I can help place you in the right market, and with the right people. One of the biggest things I've learned, and I continue to impart in small businesses, it is about networking. You do have to network, because oftentimes an agency wants to cultivate a relationship with the businesses they're going to be outsourcing it, because there's a part of that that's trusting you to deliver. Yes, there's contractual terms and you do have to deliver, but we want to know what kind of work you've done before. We want to gain some momentum with you. We want to be able to network with you, so I can call you and ask you, hey, so what's your schedule? What's going on? Because we haven't heard. So I encourage all small businesses to network to the extent that's possible, especially with everything that's going on right now. There's still avenue to meet people that you want to meet. Now you just have to use Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, whatever is available to you at this point. This might be a good time, because they don't really have to step out of their comfort zone. They can have a call like this one, and we can discuss opportunities to do business. But I hope I answered your question, because there's just a lot of examples of areas where I've worked with small businesses to kind of make sure they're sustainable in this industry.
Well, and I love that the example of the security services, for example. I mean, you said 6 contracts, each over $100,000. To a lot of small businesses, that is a huge impact on their business.
Exactly.
That's a lot of money to most small businesses. So, that's something. That's just one thing they've now added to their business. So that was a great example. And I'm a big believer in networking for anybody and everybody, whether you're a business owner, a salesperson, a college student, trying to find a job. Like, we have the power of things like LinkedIn and Twitter and any of social media nowadays, so you really can connect with anybody. So I thought I love that you brought that up, because that's something I talk about a lot too. So you said you had a specific program that you were maybe going to talk about a little bit further. Would you like to share more about that?
Yeah, so the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, again, speaking to the transportation sector, there's other agencies that are not in the transportation sector that has a similar program. They might call it the Minority Business Enterprise Program. They might call it a Small Business Policy. So there's different names of it, but initially it was stemmed as a result of receiving funds from the Department of Transportation. There's this, the DBE program, which ensures that agencies that are receiving such funds are including minority and women-owned businesses in their doing business. Oftentimes, alongside this program, there's a percentage, there's a goal that the agency wants to meet. For example, I think LA Metro, don't quote me, at some point they were at 23%, which essentially saying of all the funds that we receive from the Federal Transit Administration, 23% of that is going to go to minority women-owned businesses. Now, to be able to participate as part of that program, you have to have the right certification, right? So once you have that certification and you're able to register in their vendor portal, you can compete on any one of their solicitations. So the way they do it, or some of the agencies do it, is based on the contract type, based on the project type. They assign a specific goal for that contract. For example, something such as building a new warehouse, right? So the project comes to someone like me from the project manager and they say, this is our proposal. We're going to be building a new warehouse. Do an assessment. So what I do is based on the database we have, I do an evaluation of how many how many disadvantaged business enterprise do we have that are ready and willing to do this job? And then I place a percentage. So it might be 20%, right? And then the project manager, once they go through the process, the solicitation process and then awarding, the prime contractor is responsible for achieving that percentage. So 20% of their expenditures has to go to small businesses. A lot of small businesses don't know about it, but that's a guaranteed 20%, as long as you play your cards right? You do the networking, you reach out, make sure you have the right permits, the credits, and everything that's needed to assess your ability to do the work, of course. But oftentimes, a lot of those projects that are coming out, that are being funneled through public administration, have similar programs with similar goals. The high-speed rail, for example, their authority, their goal is 30% of the amount that they receive, yes, from public funding. 30% of that, their goal is to get that small business participation.
And that's the high-speed rail, that's a lot of money, that 30%.
Exactly, because it flows down to all their primes, right? It flows down to the design builders, it flows down to their architectural, to their engineering firms. And we all have that same responsibility of achieving that small business participation or making aggressive, good faith efforts to bring small businesses, minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses to participate on these projects, right? Because we know small businesses are in huge part responsible for our economy. They play a big role. Right. But what we also, as part of the objectives of the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, is to elevate that small businesses to where they can become a medium-sized business and ultimately one of the big guns, right? So they can employ more people, bring on more small businesses, and that way our economy is ever evolving.
Yeah.
So that is the goal of this program.
Yeah, and that, I'm originally from California. I do live in Arizona now, so I've done some of my research on small businesses here, specifically in Arizona. And for 2019, 99.3% of all businesses in Arizona were considered a small business, applying about 47% of all jobs. So it's majority. I mean, it's literally almost every business in the state, and then it's almost half the jobs. So I mean, that's it's so important to the economy. It really is. And we have a lot of tech here. So we have they're calling it the next Silicon Valley, in Arizona, because we have, I think, like 350 small businesses that are tech related, and more than half of those are women or minority owned. So it's a really cool, diverse small business population here. And I know my audience is kind of from all over, mostly California, Arizona, since that's where I'm from, and I've made a lot of connections. But and I know California has small business population is very diverse as well. But so that's, everything you're talking about is so important for so many businesses.
Interestingly, I was in Arizona. What was that? January. I visited the city of Phoenix, the department, to see how they do business, and they have a lot of resources.
They do.
And they have a similar program where they do have goals that they plan to attain for small business participation, veteran business, and disadvantaged business enterprises. And I applauded their efforts, because they do really try to take aggressive measures to ensure that they're doing what they can to make small businesses aware. So that's it for your Arizona audience. If they go to the city of Phoenix, their website, their small business program has a lot of useful resources.
Yeah, good to know. I haven't looked a lot into it, but I know that it's pretty robust. Arizona is, I think, definitely one of the more small business friendly states that we, from what I know. Well, I know our time is kind of running out here, but before we wrap it up, could you share, do you have maybe a favorite book or a podcast or a YouTube channel or anything like that people could go look at to learn a little bit more about just working with the government or seeking out public contract opportunities, things like that?
Okay, well, I'm kind of a nerd, so my favorite read might not entertain a lot of people, but the Title 649 CFR Part 26.
Okay.
It kind of goes into the different programs that have been generated for small businesses, diversity, minority and disadvantaged businesses. So it goes extensively into what the regulation is. I find that it's important for small business to know the regulation, because with that knowledge, they have power.
Yeah.
And I find oftentimes, because a lot of them don't really have the knowledge, they can't compete the level that I feel like they could.
Right.
So spending some time looking at that. And then the Small Business Administration, SBA. SBA is your best friend, because they know of all the federal opportunities. They know of all the set-aside programs. They know of all the resources. They can assist with overhead. They can assist you with strategies for growing your business. So to me, that is the closest we come to a one-stop shop. Is the Small Business Administration within whatever area you live in.
Yeah.
But that is the resource that I have. I hope that's sufficient enough.
That's great. No, and I think I don't think a lot of small businesses think of the SBA beyond like loans. They think, oh, I'm an SBA loan, that's it. But it really is a great resource. So I'm glad. It really is.
And they host so many different technical assistance workshops.
Yes.
And you can go in there with a contract that you're trying to compete with, for, and they can walk you through it. And there's a center from that. It's called the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. I'm not sure they have that worldwide. I'm not sure.
I'm not either, but something people can look up for their local.
Yeah, it's called the PTAC, and the PTAC is also really resourceful, because they're hands-on. And if you have a contract, if you have a procurement you're trying to go after, they will sit down and walk you through what some of the requirements are, which is great.
Yeah, very helpful, because I think that's one kind of barrier to a lot of small businesses in pursuing these public contract opportunities is they're scared of all the red tape and the understanding how to fill out the forms right and how to meet the requirements and so. But like I said, there's so many resources out there that can help them navigate that.
Yeah, and I mean, and to your point, there are a lot of forms. Because when you start dealing with public money, there's a lot of channels for safeguard, right? Just to make sure we're performing in the best in the best interest of the public funds
Right.
and taxpayer dollars, of course. So, but I don't. My hope and wish is that that is not. It doesn't act as a discouragement. I, because there's so many people like myself, and
Hmm.
we're willing to walk you through it, right? We're willing
Right.
to just take you step by step because once you can jump through the hoops, once you can jump through the forms they had to fill out, one, two, A, B, and you start doing the work, it's really lucrative and it's
Right.
sustainable, right? Because once you're able to build that relationship with that agency, now there's an incentive to reconsider you. And then if you partner up with big firms such as WSP and your ACOM and your Clark, you become part of their strategic partnership,
Hmm.
right? And you become part of their circle. And that's an incentive, again, to bring you back because we're familiar with your work and it can attest to um, success factors, right?
Right.
So,
Right. So once you get in there, then it's like it's a long-term opportunity for continued revenue. Yeah.
yeah, just get in. Just try to get in. We want you to get in.
And it makes your job easier when you have those
Yeah,
trusted resources to go to for the
yeah,
contract. So
yes,
it's a win-win on both sides.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I know our time is up, but I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today and to share this knowledge on an area that I think a lot of small businesses really need to learn more about.
Yeah, my
If
pleasure.
you would like to connect with you, what's the best place for them to connect with you to kind of just start their network in the public opportunities?
LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the best place. I'm not on any other social media platforms. I'm sorry. LinkedIn is all I can handle. So
Right.
just type my name, Rita Ohaya. It will come up. And then email. And my email is fairly easy. It's just ritaohaya@gmail.com.
Great.
And
I will be sure to drop your LinkedIn profile in the
thank
comments as
you.
well.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
if I can answer your question, thankfully, I have the resource. Someone is able to answer your question, so I'll forward you to the appropriate person. But
Wonderful.
hopefully, the information I provided today is impactful and valuable to a lot of your audience. So,
I think it will be, and I know I definitely learned something new today. So I really appreciate your insight and knowledge and taking the time.
my pleasure.
All
Thank you
right,
for having me.
everybody tuning in and have a great day.
Nice. Thank you.
All right, bye bye.
Bye.